Question 5 is, what does the framework look like? So the SCoPEd framework at the moment has multiple documents. It's not just one document or one website to visit, and so it can be a little bit tricky to navigate. I'm going to summarize the actual document and how it's composed in a moment, but just be aware that whatever website you go onto, the BACP, UKCP or the BPC, you can find the methodology document, you can find FAQs, there's also something called a myth busting page, but that is in addition to things like the case studies and the actual main framework. So just to kind of give you a summary, early on in the document there is a 4-column table that shows you the different routes of training, and that's quite generic. It just shows you kind of what kind of training a column A, column B or column C practitioner may have had. But then further down the framework talks about competences, and this is where we have 3 columns which are very important. These columns are showing you the different levels, setting out the different levels of counselling and psychotherapy practice, training or competence. They're labelled A, B and C, but formerly had different titles. A was called counsellor, B was called advanced counsellor and C was called psychotherapist. So columns A and B broadly align with the training and entry requirements for BACP and UKCP respectively. BACP is column A, UKCP is broadly column B. But if you were a member of BACP and you were accredited, which is their kind of higher tier of BACP membership, you would fall into column B, not column A. Then column C is mostly aligned with the British Psychoanalytical Council's entry requirements for their membership body. Pertinent to students, the authors of SCoPEd have stated that the columns broadly relate to the training and entry requirements for the 3 membership bodies registers. So that means that if you are a member of a different membership body and you're looking at SCoPEd, it doesn't necessarily relate to how you enter your membership body. So just to remind you that this only really at the moment concerns 3 of the 11 membership bodies, albeit 3 of the largest. It's also important to note for those that are recently qualifying that this version 2, the second iteration of SCoPEd, states that it goes beyond entry levels. So it's not just about the minimum requirements, but it's about looking at ways or gateways that people can progress through counselling and psychotherapy. And that means moving from column A to column B, or column B to column C, or who knows, maybe even column A to column C on a good day. But the detail of how this is going to actually work is not laid out in the framework at the moment. So instead there's some case studies that seek to illustrate how this might work. They're linked in the description below. But yeah, just remember to have a look at the whole framework and really get to grips with the detail that's in there. In the next question, I'll be looking at some of the criticisms that are out there for the framework. And so really to understand those, you need to have a good close look at that framework. The second version is available on all 3 websites, BACP, UKCP and BPC, but also there is an accessible version which is available on the BACP website if you need that one.